Hey, um, I'm Angel Alba, and I'd like to make a March Madness bracket. One quick little funnel March Madness bracket before I go to sleep, before brackets lock. Brackets lock at like 9:45 a.m. my time. It's when the first game starts. So, you know, I thought it'd be nice to make a little late night bracket. Um, I've already made one, but it was like really simple. It's the safest. Um, But this one is like gonna be a little bit more well thought out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't watch college basketball as intensely as I do last like previous years. I was just a little bit busy. I started watching in January, and then I watched the conference championships as well. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of these teams I only know from the conference championship. Like I don't know. They're like regular season stuff. I don't know the regular season stuff, but you know, some of these teams I don't know like their Ken Palm. I don't know how many like quad one wins, quad two wins they have, or like quad three losses, quad four. But we'll figure out. I have a general idea. I'm sure we can make a strong enough bracket. You know, I have a little bit zoomed in here. Um, I'll have to like drag the little display over. I'll get it figured out. Don't worry, don't worry. Um anyways, let's start out with the east and the west. Or maybe south. I think this is south. East and south. We'll see. We'll go. It's number one UConn versus number 16 Stetson. I'm not too keen on Stetson. UConn obviously is really strong. UConn won their conference tournament. UConn's the defending champions as well. Can UConn repeat? I don't know. UConn has a lot of missing pieces from last year, but they've been able to really fill it in nicely. But we'll see how this develops and see how I feel later. FAU Northwestern. I'm not the biggest FAU fan. Um, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not the biggest fan of Big Ten basketball in general. Think I like FAU a little bit more. San Diego State, UAB. UAB as a 12 is interesting to me. Maybe. Um, let me let me look at something real quick. I'm not sure if I quite enjoy UAB at a 12. I may be wrong. Um, uh, let me look at like this real quick. I'm not, you know, I'm looking at this little chart here. It's just graph. It's the pace versus net rating index. You know, you guys all know it. Um, I'm gonna. I mean, Houston. Sorry, don't know why I say Houston. UConn is in that little like zone that they like. Um, it's the best way to get matches. Like I'm saying, this one's gonna be a little bit more of a serious bracket. FAU, but then again, a lot of it's gonna be eye test for me as well, since I've seen like a good majority of these teams play. You know, um, I'm gonna keep on with my FAU pick on this as a Northwestern San Diego State UAB. take San Diego State, honestly. Um, Auburn, Yale. Not a big Yale fan. I don't think there's much to think about. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think there's much to think about in terms of this. BYU. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Duquesne? Duquesne? Du, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not too keen on BYU. I'll go with that. Illinois Morehead State. Illinois is alright. I've been mad at Illinois. You know? Um, 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 Washington State Drake. Drake is an interesting team. I'm not. I'm from Western Washington, so naturally we don't exactly have a liking to Wazoo. But I think honestly Drake has this. No, I'll give it to Washington State. Iowa State, I really like Iowa State. I like State a lot. I like Iowa State a lot. North Carolina, Wagner. Let's go North Carolina. Sure, they lost to NC State in the conference tournament, but North Carolina is a very, very strong team. Mississippi State, Michigan State. I'm gonna go Michigan State. I think Mississippi State's a little bit overseeded in my opinion. St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. St. Mary won their conference tournament. Sure, their conference wasn't the strongest this year. Gonzaga's like having a down year. Um, but I mean, I can't front Grand Canyon. I won't even like. I'll give Grand Canyon their props. If they pull off the upset, they pull off the upset. You feel, and I'm just completely lost. But honestly, I think they're pretty all right. I think St. Mary's, is pretty all right. Alabama, Charleston. I'm gonna go Bama. Clemson, New Mexico. I like New Mexico. I like New Mexico a lot in this. Maybe it's just because I really like teams that play fast. I don't know. Clemson plays decently fast actually, but they're sort of like middle of the road, like a middle ground. Um, like on the Drake Washington State, they kind of play at the same pace. New Mexico plays very fast. Clemson plays at like a normal pace, but I still want New Mexico. Let's go Baylor. Dayton, Nevada. Dayton plays pretty slow. Nevada. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the Mountain West is a little bit undervalued this year in the tournament. I'll go with Nevada. I'll go with Nevada on this one. Arizona. Let's go Arizona. All right. Let's go fill out the South. Let me adjust this a little bit. There you go. Number one, Houston, 16 Longwood. Houston is a legit team. Very, very legit. I would say my favorites to win the national title. Nebraska, Texas A&M. Texas A&M. Like their pace isn't, the fastest, but it isn't the slowest. Nebraska is a little bit on the faster end, tiny bit on the faster end. I will take Texas A&M in this matchup. Again, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Big Ten basketball. Wisconsin, James Madison. You can't not disregard James Madison, I'm gonna take James Madison just cause again they play a little bit faster. Wisconsin plays a little bit slower. I'm gonna prefer James Madison into this. Duke for I don't like Vermont. Maybe just because they come out of the colonial the American colonial or whatever every single year. But let's go with Duke. Texas Tech, NC State, very interesting. Texas Tech had a pretty middle of the road season. You saw quad one wins, but also a lot of like ugly losses. They're very inconsistent. They're very erratic. Um, NC State, they really got it together for the ACC tournament. You know, going out and winning it. Um, and there is merit to that. There is value to that. You can't not consider it. You know, maybe as an 11 seed, you pick NC State. I mean, they're hot. They have stuff figuring out, and Texas Tech is just a bit too inconsistent for my taste. Maybe maybe I'm just you know maybe I'm just wrong, but I mean I saw NC State and hey, they're they kind of have stuff like figured out right now. Texas Tech seems very a little bit dicey. Kentucky, Oakland, go with Kentucky. Florida, Colorado. Colorado is a first four team. Um, Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, was second in the Pac-12 as in tournament wise, and I'm not sure regular season wise, but they lost to Oregon in the Pac-12 tournament. Um, sure their first 14, they don't they, they one advantage of the first four is when you win, you know how to win. You know how you put together a win, but also you don't get the most amount of rest. I'm gonna go with Florida on this one. Marquette versus Western Kentucky. I'll go Marquette. Purdue, Grambling State. Obviously, Purdue lost a 16 seed last year in FDU. Fairleigh Dickinson. Um, is that something to be worried about this year? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that makes Purdue more locked in. Maybe it's a Virginia scenario where now, like, they're ready to win a national title. um, but there's no way they lose to a 16 seed again, right? Right. Utah State, Texas Christian University. Shout out Stacey. Gonzaga McNeese. I'm gonna look up McNeese's record real quick. I'm pretty sure they have like 30 wins. You know. Um, they won the Southland. Let me look at the Southland standings. If I'm not mistaken, McNeese has like 30 wins. Yeah, 30-3. Sure, you may say, hey, the record wasn't the strongest. They're kind of going against cupcakes. But to that, I say, I mean, the coach was preaching for a stronger schedule all year. That's got to mean something, right? They've had like solid wins. I feel like they've had like a couple of good quad one, quad two wins. And Gonzaga, I think, is very overseeded. Why is Gonzaga a 5 seed? I don't know. They lost their tournament, right? And if you don't know, like, the West Coast, like, conference, like, tournament, it's a straight up ladder tour. If I'm not mistaken, Gonzaga was already in, like, the semis. So they won one game in the tournament and then they lost the other against St. Mary's, a very legit team. I think St. Mary's should be seated higher. I don't think Gonzaga's a 5 seed. I'm gonna go with McNeese on this. Kansas Samford. I'm gonna go Samford. Samford plays at a very high pace, very rapid pace. Kansas, um, I mean, not so much so, but like Samford's very efficient with that pace. Like Kansas isn't the fastest. They're not the slow. And actually, Kansas like it's just a tad bit fast, but honestly, it's like March as well. I'm gonna give this to Samford. Number 6, South Carolina. Number 11, Oregon. I'm giving this to South Carolina. I'm not giving it a lot of thought because I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of injuries on Oregon, and I'm not sure if they like the longevity in their guys. You know, they're gonna be running a very, very short like rotation. Ah. Number 3, Creighton. Number 14, Akron. I'm gonna go Creighton. I'm gonna give this. I'm not giving this a lot of thought. Number 7, Texas. Number 10, Colorado State. I'm going against I'm gonna go Colorado State. Colorado is the last team in, surprisingly. Um, but last team in, as in like, yeah, because they're at large. Um, but I don't. I like them. I like them enough. Texas is sort of like your Big 12 basketball team. I think I'm gonna go Colorado State on this one. Gonna go Tennessee on this one. Not gonna put a lot of thought into St. Peter's. We all know St. Peter's legendary run a few years back, but they don't have the same like guys to do that. And I think Tennessee is just a much stronger team. Second round. Let's start from here. Second round, Houston, and then we're gonna go Duke, Kentucky, Marquette. The only reason I feel like the first round is the only one you need to think about, and we can go a little bit quicker here, unless there's something I need to think about. NC State's road might end at Kentucky. Um, you know, it's nothing. How do I say? It's nothing like, oh, it's the higher seed, and they're just not like the best or whatever. It's just that Kentucky is a very, very solid team. Obviously not like um national championship solid, but Kentucky is just sort of solid. NC State, they might be hot. Maybe the only reason I'm talking so much about this is because in the back of my mind it's going big NC State, big NC State. Um, Jim Valvano. Um, and the more I ramble on, and the more I I yap, um, I think that I gotta say, give me NC State. I mean, who knows? Let's let the magic ride. Purdue, TCU. We're gonna go Purdue. McNeese, Stanford. I'm going Stanford. I'm going Stanford. McNeese is cool, but I think I really, really like Stanford. South Carolina, Creighton, Colorado State, Tennessee, Tennessee. Let's go to the other side of the bracket for the second round now. East. Move it over. Yeah, this is good. Perfect. Sorry, I'm just adjusting it. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Anyways, scroll up. UConn, FAU. Let's go UConn. San Diego State, Auburn. It's gonna be tough. Those are really tough ones. Probably gonna go with Auburn, Illinois here, and Iowa State here. Iowa State's just too solid for Wazoo. Dukes? Dukesine? I don't know how to pronounce that. Um, North Carolina. I'm gonna pick Alabama over St. Mary's. Don't get me wrong, I like St. Mary's, and I wish they would like go farther, but I think they play a bit too slow for this tournament. Go to New Mexico over Baylor, Nevada over Arizona. Honestly, Explanation? Um, I feel it. I feel it. Elite Eight. No, Sweet 16. I mean, sorry, Sweet 16. Um, let's go on this side. Let's start on this side. UConn and Iowa State. Again, not the biggest fan of the Big Ten. North Carolina. Let's keep on going. New Mexico. Honest. Nevada. Actually, I actually rock with Nevada a lot. Actually, huh? I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna like. You know. I think I like Nevada a little bit more. Actually, yeah. Honestly, Houston, Duke. Houston. Does NC State's road in there? Does it? At the Sweet 16? No, they keep rolling. Honestly, Samford over Purdue. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Purdue. Creighton, Tennessee. Tennessee. Rocky Top. Elite Eight. Houston, NC State. Houston. Houston. Samford, Tennessee. Hear me out, hear me out. Samford. All right. I don't need to like scroll anymore. I don't need to like make it all on one side. It can fit now. All right. UConn, Iowa State. UConn. They're so good. North Carolina, Nevada. Gotta go with North Carolina. Final four. Number one UConn versus number one UNC. I'm giving a lot of props for UConn, honestly, for winning the conference tournament. You know? North Carolina, not so much so. ACC, I mean, you lost to NC State. I mean, they're at 11C. But, um, I'm gonna go with North Carolina. Why? Because I think it'd be nicer to, like, watch light blue and white on TV in the championship. Number one Houston versus number 13 Samford in the Final Four. I'm gonna go Houston. Sure, yeah, it's the one seed, but honestly, I really, really like Houston's ball playing. Um, kind of trying to rethink my UConn pick. I'll go with UConn. I'll pick UConn actually in the Natty championship game. Number one UConn. Number one Houston. Go Houston on this one. Again, I really enjoy Houston. UConn, yeah, they have like a really good team, just not enough to, you know, like get it again, you know? Winner, it's probably gonna be a more low scoring game if Houston wins. I mean, like a 64-50. Here, pick Houston. That was really fun to make. Honestly, it got a little bit faster once we got to the later rounds, but once you get to that territory, there's not much predict. I don't want to spend too much time predicting because it's like who even knows if my first round is gonna be correct, right? First round's the only one that's set in stone, the only one you can really analyze. All the others hypothetical. Um, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you have a great night. Good night.